Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada, and I am here with your special new moon in Aries message. So let's get started. Right off the interesting. We have so card that came flying out is the Ace of Swords in reverse. Very interesting because we are currently experiencing the new moon in the first sign of the zodiac, which is Aries. Very, very interesting. We're in the year of the fire horse. We're starting off with the a fiery new moon. And to see that we have the Ace of Swords in reverse should make for a very interesting story. We have the Three of Cups in reverse. We have the Seven of Cups, which makes sense for what we are meant, or what we will experience for the season. We have the Ten of Wands in reverse, the Nine of Pentacles, Six of Swords in reverse. We have the Nine of Wands, the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Hanged Man, the Ten of Swords in reverse, Two of Pentacles in reverse, Nine of Swords, Seven of Wands, and we'll end it with the Page. Actually, I lied. I was going to say we're going to end it with the Page of Pentacles, but are actually going to end it with, so again, this is the Page of Pentacles, and we're going to end it with Death. It sounds more grave than it actually is. If I feel the need to draw more cards or feel called to, I will, but in the moment, there is no need. So, the Ace of Swords in reverse. What does that mean? When we have a sword, it is in regards to communication. It has to do with learning new communication styles, especially since it is an ace. We are at the beginning. What do we do when the sword is in reverse? Now, let's touch back on what I wanted to say. So I'm going to pull up my notes. We have the, where is it at? Here it is. So for this Aries new moon, the main themes are courage, confidence, leadership, but most importantly, action. Action. So right now, you may be in a state in which you are unsure of how to proceed. So in the last readings that we've done, one of the things that you had to take into consideration or start taking seriously is that you needed to start moving forward, right? The moving forward, the letting go of what no longer serves you, that was going to be the assignment in what you're trying to grow towards. And so sorry for the pause. Now I'm thinking ahead. This is why. So when it comes to the Ace of Swords in reverse, there seems to be a lot of racing thoughts. There seems to be an issue in regards to either trying to narrow down what it is that you truly want to do, or you're so scatterbrained, you have so many ideas, you don't know where to start, right? Now, or now that we have the following card. So the Ace of Swords is there's just a lot of chaos in the mind right now, that when you're trying to set these intentions, you don't know where to begin. It might be overwhelming. So you might be through going through a moment of overwhelm because of how many ideas you may have running through your mind. Or, since we have the Three of Cups in reverse, this may be an indicator that you may have started to build a support system or have a support system that are giving you lots of ideas, right? And so now you're becoming overwhelmed because it seems like it's becoming a little too much, because now you had your mind set on 2 or 3 options and now you have 6 to 8 options going on. Is it possible to, you know, accomplish it all? Sure, but don't feel like you have to accomplish it all right now. Now, my favorite card that tends to come out, because I myself resonate with this card in many different aspects, but in this instance, this card here is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is the just pick card. Now, if you have a lot of outside influence that are giving you more ideas than you can possibly take on at the moment, and you're becoming overwhelmed, the Three of Cups in reverse is kind of telling you that you might need some time to kind of step away, or you know, kind of, I don't want to say fully withdraw, because that's not the point, right? The whole idea is that you need to, and this is what's very difficult, is that you might be appreciating all the ideas that are coming to you, but it's too much. And so while you appreciate it and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, you need to start setting those boundaries in regards to either the helpful, unsolicited advice or opinions or suggestions, in order for you to finally make a decision and just pick one. Doesn't matter what. I assure you, no matter what you pick, it won't be a bad idea. No matter what it is that you want to start with. And then if you just, well, I can't decide, I like them all. Make a list. Make a list. 1 through however many ideas you have. Rate them from the most like passionate to, even if you're like, well, I'm passionate about all of them. There's levels of passion, right? So utmost important passion. And if you come down that there's 2 at the very top that you're equally passionate about, start with one, then that next one is the next one you start with. Because you need to fully dedicate your planning to start with one. You're going to be able to get through your list if there's a list. You just got to pick one. Now, the other thing with the Three of Cups is we have the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands in reverse, in this instance, see how tired this individual is? This is an indicator that you're kind of being weighed down by outside influences, whether that's the family that you have. It could be that the issue that arises is that you have all these plans of like either going back to school or applying for other jobs, or but it's for your betterment. And yet with these new decisions that you're making in order to improve, succeed, achieve whatever it is that you have been craving, yearning, striving for, there might be outside voices that are reminding you like, but what about this? And it may not be an idea for you to take on, but it is a responsibility that you somehow assumed that wasn't your responsibility to assume. And now it seems to be expected of you. And that might put a wrench in the plan, that might cause an obstacle, a speed bump on your way towards your racing ahead, right? keep in mind that this also has to do with that Three of Cups, either if it's unsolicited suggestions, advice, whatever. People's um, entitlement to your priorities is another thing to work on in regards to setting boundaries. You need to take action. You need to take action with everything that's running through your mind. And in order to make that list, this is your assignment. So I don't typically give a lot of homework for you guys, but here, you have to pick. You need to make that list in order to make that decision. But again, similarly to the unsolicited advice, suggestions, whatever the case may be, one of the things that you need to take into consideration is that you need to remind people that while you are more than happy to help, it is not your responsibility to take on what it is that they expect you to keep taking on. And they need to figure it out. Now, the thing is that while you provide that assistance, that service, and you're more than happy, you also are feeling the burden of being taken advantage of. And that's why they look the way that they are. And it's in reverse. So it's not being supported, it's being pushed down. Quit letting yourself being pushed down. You're trying to grow up, not recede. Okay? Now, we have the Nine of Pentacles. You are striving for better things. You're so close. The abilities to achieve what it is that you're dreaming is there. See, they are surrounded by fruition. Their head is in the cloud, manifesting what it is that they want, sharing and embracing the moment, living in the moment. That is what is there. Now, when we have this, we also, we saw it again last time. And it's just that reminder that you really need to take into consideration that you're currently in a state of transition, right? You're in a state of transition. Usually that when we have the Six of Swords in as a right side up, it is proof that you've overcome. You won the battle, you've succeeded, you've accomplished something, you've reached a different level. Now here, this is just a reminder, similar to like the Six of Cups. This could be an indicator of looking back or taking that step back. Now, this is why the Three of Cups has come out in reverse. This is why the Ten of Wands has come out in reverse. Because those outside influences are there, kind of trying to suck you back in. So if for you, this is a situation in which you have been being taken advantage of, or, you feel the guilt of being made to feel obligated to continue doing something, or I'm going to give it to you straight with these three. Okay? Setting healthy boundaries is very important. It is important for your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and for the betterment of your future. You are not helping anybody if they cannot build the strength to help themselves. Why is it that you have to be broken down to the point that you are growing in reverse in the direction that you do not want, to keep appeasing others who don't want you to succeed? Why is it that they can ask and ask and ask of you, but you can't ask anything of them, and yet you accept that? Now is the time for action, right? This new moon in the year of the fire horse, in the fire sign of Aries, there's a fire being lit under your ass at this time. You're not seeing the bullshit for what it is in order to cut it out. You have so much opportunity that lays ahead of you. You just got to pick where you want to start. And the thing is that you letting yourself get sucked back into people's problems that aren't your own is what's stopping you. And if you keep letting yourself, that is only self-sabotage. You don't really want yourself to succeed then. And yet you find yourself crying that nothing that you wanted to happen was happening, but you kept looking back and letting yourself get pulled back by people that didn't deserve the help that you kept giving them or kept taking advantage of that. All that dedication that you give to others, it's time to turn it around and give it to yourself. And how do I know that there's so much possibility for you to do so? Because this is the card of accepting transition. Accept transition. It's time to accept it. Don't use it. Don't pause. Don't use it as an excuse. The Nine of Wands is someone that is building up towards something. They took all those struggles and obstacles that they had and they're creating something with it. Something sustainable, something that they've envisioned, and that is you. You have that capability to do so. The world is waiting for you to make the decision to do so. You daydream, and it's not just about daydreaming. It's about succeeding and securing your bag and making this success that you've been wanting and craving for. You just don't let yourself do it. Now, how do I know it's a you problem and not an anyone else problem? Because we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. See how they're bandaged and tied up and everything? Now, typically, this is an indicator of feeling trapped, right? But the funny thing is about the Eight of Swords is that in this instance, the Eight of Swords is kind of you're letting yourself be the victim, or you're playing yourself to be the victim when you know that you have every ability to succeed. Because if the card were right side up, right? If the card were right side up, the person's tied up. Their hands are tied up. And yet they're so close to the swords that they could utilize them to free themselves. And yet they leave themselves bound. Now, when it is in reverse, and in this instance, you are holding on to negative self-talk, the negative beliefs that people have instilled in you, that they've like whispered in your ear. Remember last time I mentioned this, you got to let go of those self-deprecating thoughts. You have to let it go. Stop saying like, oh, I'm so stupid, ay pendeja, like, oh, I'm so dumb. Like, you need to stop that self-hate. You need to flip it on its head and change the narrative of, I was so dumb, and say like, you know what, I accept it. Yes, I was dumb. Change the narrative. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, I'm so smart, da da da, and cheesy and fake or whatever, if you don't feel that way. But you can transition it in the way that you say the narrative. Change how you say it, right? Change how you say it. Instead of saying, I know I was dumb, say, I did not have the knowledge to make the best decisions back then, but I do now. You can say it out loud with me. I did not have enough knowledge to make the best decisions then, but I do now. So anytime you say like, I'm so stupid, say, okay, well, I guess I've learned now. I guess I learned now. Or you could just say, okay, I've learned my lesson. Change that narrative. And how do I know that that's the narrative that needs to be said? Because we have the Hanged Man. You gotta look at it from a different perspective. You can't keep saying, woe is me. Why does this happen? It's because they guilt trip me. But you let them guilt trip you. You let them guilt trip you. Why do you let them guilt trip you? We have a lot of reverse cards. We haven't had this many reverse cards in so long. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. Now, you know, okay, so I'm gonna tell you this right now. You have the Ten of Swords in reverse. You have the Nine of Swords in reverse. While they're not in that order, it's not a Ten of Swords in reverse, Two of Pentacles in reverse, Two of Swords in reverse, and then you have the Seven of Wands. Now, the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Swords are basically saying the same thing. Basically, almost. Whereas the Ten of Swords is trying to tell you that, you know, you have to understand that the ability to I don't want to say regenerate. That's not the word that I want to say. I want to say the ability to overcome, to reinvent yourself. There we go. The ability to reinvent yourself is more than possible. You have that ability because that's what you're working towards, right? That's what you've been dreaming of. And yet, you know, you let the outside influences jumble up your thought process and overwhelm you with things that aren't your problem. And then with the Nine of Swords in reverse, it's just that indicator again that you start to feel stress and anxiety and you become, again, overwhelmed. Now, the thing is that it's a problem that's not a problem because you just need to tell people to handle their own shit. And if they say, well, I don't know where to start, guess what? Tell them the internet is free. Well, not actually, no, that's not what I wanted to say. I was trying to avoid saying Google because I don't want to monetize them. But most search engines are free. They're free. But we have the Two of Pentacles. And usually it's, you know, it's just a bunch of overwhelm. Basically, this is all saying the same damn thing. All over the place, we're saying the same damn thing. You're anxious, your thoughts are jumbled, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed out by everyone else, you have all these dreams, you don't know where to start, you want to achieve this amazing thing, and you have so many ideas. We have the Page of Pentacles. Yes, it sucks having to start over. Yes, it sucks having to learn how to be willing to accept help when it's offered or even to ask for help. But that is what you need to overcome because we have death. We've talked about this. It is the death of the ego. The ego is the biggest thing that you have to overcome. And it's not like you die from one ego death. There's many ego deaths. Every single time you have a transition of one way of life into another, you outgrow that like a snake, and then you grow into something bigger and better. Okay, something stronger, something healthier, something that you've been dreaming about. Look at things from a different perspective. Learn how to cut the bullshit because you need to pick and decide what you truly dreamed of so that it oh, I had it in mind. So that you can get to where you want to be. You're the only one holding yourself hostage. So, Mighty Fates. Ooh. Okay. I was going to say something, but since this card fell out, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to explain something because what I was looking at was the two card. Well, there's two cards. So, when it comes to death, right? And it's very interesting because the Ace of Swords is in reverse. We have a bunch of swords in reverse. I think we have no right side up swords. we have the Page of Swords in reverse, right? The Page of Swords in reverse. You are afraid to speak up. You're afraid to set boundaries. You're afraid to stand up for yourself. You're afraid to stand up for your dreams. That's what needs to die. That fear that keeps you in a state of being used, that keeps you in the state of anxiety and stress. You can overcome this. You need to cut that shit out. You need to stop pretending like you don't know how to use your sharp words. Because you don't have a problem telling other people off, but you have a problem setting healthy boundaries for the people that you love that aren't showing the same amount of love to you. Now, why do I know that's the case? Because we have judgment. We have judgment. You have the strength to discern what you deserve for yourself and how that needs to be done. It is time to make that call for it to work. And I'm glad that the card fell out for the fates, which is take risk. You have to stop being afraid. It is time to take action. We have take risk. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. And it's funny because take risk is a fire card. So, take risk. Risks are personal to each one of us. To some, climbing a mountain doesn't feel risky. To others, having a conversation with a stranger does. What has been calling you that you have been afraid to do? Comfort kills growth. It is important that we regularly do things that push the envelope, that make us feel nervous, apprehensive, and uneasy, with the exception of physical danger. This card is asking you to take the plunge and do the thing that intimidates you. Trust that the net will appear after you jump. That's what you needed to hear. Now, Animal Spirit Guides, what do you have to add to this reading for our watchers that are seeking guidance? Ooh, thank you. Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation. Love it. Love it, love it. Here we go. Beaver Spirit is here to tell you about a power living within you that is born of spirit, the source from which all life rises. This is the power to establish a sacred connection with the universal consciousness so you can deliberately co-create the world you desire. Know that it takes work, determination, and sustained effort to co-create and lay a solid foundation for your dreams. If, with spirit as your partner, you bring the twigs and branches of your intentions and desires and spread them across the river of time, you'll be amazed at what you can do. You will find you can even change the direction of the flow of life. You can ensure that your world will be prosperous and purposeful, filled with love and joy, rich with magic and meaning. That which you desire will come to you and remain sustainably if you build on a sturdy foundation. Keep your intention and energy consistent and deliberate, using all your resources and the energy of this wonderful productive time. Have faith, for with Spirit to co-create with you, your success is assured. Spirit is your partner helping you along as you change the course of your life in the way your heart desires. Beaver Spirit has come to warn you to check for rotten wood in the foundations of your dreams. Perhaps you built your hopes on faulty promises or wishful thinking that something would work out just because you wanted it to. Maybe you made choices from a place of unworthiness. Hoping that once you got what you desired, it would somehow change you and make everything better. And you had to face the truth that it didn't. Or Beaver Spirit may be telling you it is time to accept things as they are. Consider abandoning the project, relationship, or situation so you can make room for something better. Perhaps you need to go back and rebuild a solid foundation because what you desire may not be in alignment with what your soul intends. Beaver Spirit says you can always get busy and build something fresh and new if the desire is true. All manner of miracles can spring up from a new, strong foundation when you remember your partnership with Spirit. Be clear about what you're building and why, choosing from a place of worthiness, well-being, and wholeness. Self-understanding and acceptance will provide you with a solid blueprint to begin with. I lost my place. This happened. Let me see. Get busy now. Beaver Spirit says this is not the time to procrastinate, but a time to start building again. Always mindful of the foundation you are laying, trusting that Spirit is co-creating with you. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. I can't make this shit up. You guys see how the cards fly. So, with that being said, I genuinely hope that this message helps. And I'll see you guys next time.